All right, Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakat Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. The whole world is watching. All eyes are on America, Iran, and the so-called Middle East. Okay? It says U.S./Iran war appears imminent. All right, let's get the definition here. All right, this is the definition of imminent. It says about to occur, impending, threatening to occur immediately, right? Though the vision tarry, wait for it, it shall surely come, it shall not tarry, right? Threatening to occur immediately, near at hand, impending, right? Let me get that in Ezekiel. All right, it said near at hand, Ezekiel 30. All right. Ezekiel 30 and 1. The word of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, came again unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, how ye, woe worth the day. Verse 3 to point. For the day is near. Even the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is near, a cloudy day. It shall be the time of the heathen, right? This is the time of the judgment of the heathen, okay? Again, everything is centered around the so-called Middle East, right? Let's get that too. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 1, and it reads, it says, Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Assyria. Verse 2, Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. Okay, so we know that Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to gather up all these nations in the valley of Yehoshaphat, which is in the so-called Middle East, for judgment. Okay, these are the things that are imminent, as we're reading here, right? It says, threatening to occur immediately, near at hand, impending, said especially of misfortune or peril, right? Full of danger, threatening, menacing, perilous, all right? Perilous time shall come, okay?
A massive amount of U.S. military equipment continues to flood into the Middle East in preparation for action against Iran. Reports indicate the U.S. has moved more than 50 fighter jets to the region over the past 24 hours alone. Along with the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group already in place and the USS Gerald R. Ford on the way, there are a variety of other U.S. Navy assets in the Red and Mediterranean seas. Here in Israel, officials...
Hey, that's heavy too, as we just read. Let's go back to that. Okay, look at that. U.S. naval assets in Middle East, right? Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Iran, Pakistan, all right? This whole region is preparing for war, okay? As we just read in 2nd Ezra 16, right? Woe be unto Babylon and Asia, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Assyria, all right? Your destruction is at hand. Check that out.
The Red and Mediterranean seas. Here in Israel, officials reportedly believe war could erupt in a matter of days and are preparing accordingly.
Well, to be fair, Israelis are always thinking about and preparing for war, but that's neither here nor there. What's important here is what the actions of the United States happen to communicate to the people of the US and more importantly to the globe. And so far, every signal I'm seeing from the Trump White House is that we are going to go to war with Iran. Now,
there you go. Joel chapter 3 verse 9, it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Okay, war. All right, this is what's imminent.
The military buildup is pretty extreme. I talked to you guys about that earlier this week, and the Trump administration has continued building up its military assets in the Persian Gulf. So you don't do that simply to bluff. You don't do that simply to coerce Iran into a new nuclear deal. I just think that, these negotiations, and I've said this before, they're just trying to buy time to ensure the US is ready, to ensure that, I guess, Israel's ready, because Iran will retaliate by, sending their missiles over to Tel Aviv. So we'll see if they're ready for that. Now, we here in the United States are not concerned about our safety, but I'm definitely concerned about the safety of the men and women in our armed services, because as Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the biggest cheerleaders for this war, said earlier this week, yeah, there's risks. Some people could die.
All right, let's let this pass. It's going down.
I want to do it anyway. And I've been pushing for it for the United States are not concerned about our safety, but I'm definitely concerned about the safety of the men and women in our armed services, because as Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the biggest cheerleaders for this war, said earlier this week, yeah, there's risks. Some people could die. I want to do it anyway. And I've been pushing for it for literally years. So I'm sure Lindsey Graham lost it in his pants today when it became abundantly clear that the Trump administration is preparing to go to war with Iran. And unlike the hit it and quit it situation that we experienced last summer, where the Trump White House just did these strikes on the nuclear sites in Iran, it does appear that they're preparing for a sustained war that they claim will last several weeks, but I think it'll likely last longer than that. Now, let me give you the details according to Axios reporter and Israeli insider Barak Ravid. He says that a US military operation in Iran would likely be a massive, weeks-long campaign that would look more like full-fledged war than last month's pinpoint operation in Venezuela, sources say. Now, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, unfortunately, are still very much involved in all of this. They met with Iran's foreign minister for 3 hours in Geneva on Tuesday, and it looks like that was a giant waste of time. Both sides said that the talks made progress, but the gaps are wide, and US officials aren't optimistic about closing them. Well, they were never optimistic about closing any gaps. They never engaged in negotiations in good faith. They were just buying time.
Yeah, and none of that matters anyway, because there is no peace, right? Isaiah 48 and 22. All right, no matter what they do, and they claim to have these meetings to get together and discuss, to bring peace and stop war. It's all bullshit, man. All right? Everything moves off the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, all right? This is Isaiah 48 and 22. There is no peace, saith the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, unto the wicked. All right? So anytime you hear about meetings and negotiations, all right, it's all distractions. All right, just like the Epstein files, all right? Really, that's just a big distraction, because America is about to go to war with Iran. All right, we're in the beginning stages of World War III, okay?
And so Peter Thiel's butt boy, JD Vance, says that Trump has kind of reached his limit with Iran. Take a look.
While talks on Tuesday left both sides saying that progress was made, there are still major questions about Iran's willingness to curb their nuclear program or address the growing regional ballistic missile threat. Yesterday on Fox News, Vice President JD Vance was asked about the negotiations.
They agreed to meet afterwards, but in other ways, it was very clear that the president has set some red lines that the Iranians are not yet willing to actually acknowledge and work through. So we're going to keep on working it. But of course, the president reserves the ability to say when he thinks that diplomacy has reached its natural end. We hope we don't get to that point, but if we do, that'll be the president's call.
Now, if there's anyone expressing concern that Iran was unwilling to negotiate about its nuclear program, which doesn't even exist. If there was anyone who told you that Iran didn't want to dilute their enriched uranium, I just want to be very clear. Those people are lying to you, because Iran on multiple occasions has made it very clear that they do want to engage in good faith and reach a deal. And if you don't believe me, let's just take a look at the latest example. This is Iran's president.
We have stated these many times. My own statements are not important. What matters from an ideological standpoint is the policy and the fatwa of the Supreme Leader. We are in no way seeking nuclear weapons. Whatever form of verification they want to carry out, we are ready for that verification to take place.
So the only thing that's off the table for Iran is their ballistic missiles. You want to know why? Because they have a hostile country in the region that has bombed every single one of its neighbors. Israel has bombed 7 different countries over the last 2 years. So if you don't have any way of defending yourself, I mean, aren't you stupid for giving up your ballistic missiles and essentially opening yourself up to attacks from Israel? And that's what Israel wants. They're not worried about Iran necessarily when it comes to their military capability. Israel wants regime change. That is the whole point. The weapons is just an excuse. That's all it is. That's all it is. It started off with like, oh, we're so afraid of their nuclear weapons, even though they don't have them and we do. But anyway, we want regime change. You should go to war. Okay, Trump bombs their nuclear sites. We want them to get rid of their ballistic missiles and their drones and any means to defend themselves. And Iran is like, no, not interested. Sorry, we're not stupid. We're not going to do what the leadership in Jordan considered doing, which was dismantling and disarming Hezbollah, which opens the way for Israel to come in and annex more land in Lebanon.
Yeah, the least of the flock shall draw them out, you know. This is Jeremiah. Okay, America is just a pawn, you know, for the small hats, man. All right, everything is moving according to prophecy. All right, Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock should draw them out. This is what's happening now. All right. America is being drawn right in, all right, for the purposes of the tiny top, man. All right, like she was talking about the regime change, all right, taking over that whole region, okay, and World War III is going to happen behind that. Surely the least of the flock should draw them out. Surely he should make their habitations desolate with them, all right. Both America and Small Hat Land are going to be attacked. All right. It says the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Right? Behold, he should come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in pangs. All right. Esau is going to be in travail. All right. His total annihilation is coming upon him suddenly, right? Just want to read that in the NLT. See what it says here. Jeremiah 49:20 NLT. Listen to the Lord's plans against Edom and the people of Teman. Even the little children will be dragged off like sheep, and their homes will be destroyed. The earth will shake with the noise of Edom's fall, and its cry of despair will be heard all the way to the Red Sea. Look, the enemy swoops down like an eagle, spreading his wings over Basra. Even the mightiest warriors will be in anguish like a woman in labor. All right, it's a wrap.
I'm not saying this is someone who like, ooh, I love Hezbollah, but maybe take a look at why Hezbollah exists and what Hezbollah's main role in Lebanon has been, namely protecting Lebanon from being annexed by Israel. So that's why Iran doesn't want to get rid of its ballistic missiles, and I don't blame them. I think it's unreasonable to demand that of them. And then remember when we went through that phase of our government and the Israeli government pretending like they care about the Iranian people? Yeah, they forgot about that already. Now the focus is, oh, we're so scared of their ballistic missiles. Please go to war. This war is about regime change. And for the Pahlavists in Iran,
imagine being able to build an app with.
Just let that pass all these damn commercials, man.
I hope you enjoy.
All right, it's time for New Year's resolutions. We all make them, but I'm not making any big flashy resolutions that are gonna crash and burn by February.
Let's jump up. Hold on. Another commercial. There we go.
Many of your people will die, and you'll get a sense of just how much the United States and Israel cares about you and your well-being. But anyway, let's move on to the rest of this, because the US is spending a ton of money for this, in my opinion, ridiculous military buildup in preparation for this war. More than 150 US military cargo flights have moved weapons, systems, and ammunitions to the Middle East. And then in the last day, the last 24 hours alone, another 50 fighter jets. That includes F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s sent to the region. And then, Trump's advisors do not view this deployment of all of that hardware as Trump engaging in a bluff. They very much intend to use those assets in this war against Iran. Now, Barak Ravid, going back to his reporting, also maintains that with the attention of Congress and the public otherwise occupied, I don't know where he got that from, but he says there is little public debate about what could be the most consequential US military intervention in the Middle East in at least a decade. Is this guy awake? What are you talking about? There's no public debate. I'll tell you, Barak Ravid, like exactly what's happening. The American people overwhelmingly don't want this war, but we don't live in a country for the people, by the people. And so our government, which is fully occupied by Israel's interests, is gonna do something that the American people don't want. And there's nothing we can do about it, at least for now. So like that framing was really dumb, because it makes it appear as though, these dopey Americans, they're so busy and occupied with other things, they don't know about this super consequential war. No, we know, everyone knows. It's just that we're acutely aware of the fact that there's nothing we can do about it. Trump doesn't care about his own damn base.
Yeah, that's true. People have no power. What can they do? Everything is the will of Yahweh Shemel Washai, man. All right, Isaiah 14. Okay, let me make a point on that. All right, Isaiah 14 and 26. It says, "This is the purpose that is proposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all nations," right? The wrath of the Lord. For the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Washai of hosts, have proposed, who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back, right? Let's get that in NLT too, all right? Them two verses, Isaiah 14, 26 and 27, all right? Again, NLT, it says, "I have a plan for the whole earth, a hand of judgment upon all the nations," right? Verse 27, "The Lord of heaven's armies has spoken. Who can change his plans? When his hand is raised, who can stop him?" All right? So nobody can do anything, man. All right? Everything is moving as the Lord wanted it to move. All right? Proverbs 21 and 1, right? Proverbs 21 and 1. And it reads, right? Ooh, that NLT was heavy too. We'll read that too. Proverbs 21 and 1, it says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will," right? I caught that before I changed it. Let's read that too. NLT, Proverbs 21 and 1. "The king's heart is like a stream of water directed by the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Washai." You see? He guides it wherever he pleases. All right? It's no stopping this thing, man. It's no stopping nuclear war. All right?
Own base doesn't want this. Now, if you're wondering if it's worth sending tens of billions of dollars that we don't have, or risking American lives because, precious Israel wants regime change in Iran, I would say no. I think I've been pretty clear about that. But we're also talking about a country that we're doing this on behalf of a country that carries out genocide, land theft, ceasefire violations, both in Gaza and in Lebanon. I mean, in Lebanon alone, they've carried out over 1,000 strikes since agreeing to a ceasefire. Okay, we're talking about a country that doesn't respect the United States or its people. You have Benjamin Netanyahu coming to our country. I mean, he's met with Trump 7 times during his second term already. And then he gives these giant speeches where he makes it clear that he thinks he's entitled to our money. He's entitled to our military. He's entitled to our soldiers risking their lives on his behalf. And by the way, just to give you some more updates on what our special ally is up to, they just killed a 12-year-old Palestinian boy in Jabalia, that's in Gaza, using a drone. Literally, they used a drone. 12-year-old boy. That is a targeted hit. Man, they really do get their rocks off on killing children, don't they? So that's the country that we're going to go to war for. Real question is, what are the stakes for Israel? What are they putting on the line? It looks like not much. The US will go it alone, but I'm sure Iran will retaliate. And as that retaliation is taking place, I don't want to hear any damn crying from any damn Israelis. This is what you wanted, so enjoy.
Every time you ring the bell.
Whoo, man. You know, this is the book of Zephaniah 1:14. It says, the great day of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is near. It is near. All right, we just read that. Imminent. Okay? Threatening to occur immediately. Near at hand, impending. It's said especially of misfortune and peril. All right? Prophecy, man. Zephaniah 1:14, the great day of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is near. It is near. It hasteth greatly. All right? It's coming in fast. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, right? Nuclear destruction, annihilation, man. Okay? Absolute chaos. Verse 16, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers, right? And I was just looking this up just to see what I would get out of the chat, GPT here, and it was pretty heavy. Let's pull that up too. In verse 16, okay? So it says that line comes from the book of Zephaniah 1:16, part of a prophecy describing the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, a time of divine judgment, war, panic, and the collapse of human security. It says a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. Meaning context. In the ancient world, trumpet, shofar equal war signal, invasion, warning, or divine appearance. All right, and that trumpet tied back to the prophets of the Lord, the true prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that are giving you the warnings. All right. That are breaking down the prophecies. It says alarm equal panic inside the city, people running for safety. Fenced cities equal fortified nations thought to be untouchable. See? Right? How much more Babylon, America, right? High towers equal military power, defense systems, pride, and technological confidence. All right? Going back to these to these elites as well. All right? It says, so this verse is saying the day is coming when no human defense, economy, or military strength will save anyone. No defense, economy, or military strength will save anyone. The Most High himself becomes the attacker, not just another nation. It's not merely a local battle. It's a collapse of civilization level security. Whew, man. Broader passages, verses 14 through 18, a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of darkness and gloominess. Silver and gold cannot deliver. The land devoured by fire, judgment. This describes total societal breakdown, not just war. Spiritual judgment manifesting physically, right? This is what we see. All right, the point of this war is that's imminent. Okay, and that's the point. All right, let's go back and finish it off. Okay, Zephaniah 1:16, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men that they should walk like blind men because they have sinned against the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and their blood should be poured out as dust. It's going to be a lot of death. Okay? A lot a lot of mass casualties, and their flesh as dung, neither shall their silver nor their gold be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. All right, because we're coming into the collapse of this economy. They're going to get rid of the paper money. They're going to push that chip. Okay, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. All right, Babylon, America, man. Okay, 1 hour is all it's going to take. As prophecy states, man. It's going to be a speedy riddance. All right, it's going to be a fast destruction. Okay, it's not going to be nothing long and drawn out. The Lord is going to get rid of this place fast. All right, Zephaniah 3:8. And it reads, therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, into the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Right? So it's going down, as we saw in the map here of these nations, you know, the warships that are being gathered up. The militaries, where was that at? Right here. Okay. Everything is going to be gathered right here. The Lord said, my determination is to gather the nations. All right. This is where everybody's going to be. This is where all the military buildup is going to be at in this part of the world. All right. So we're closer than ever. Shalom.